good morning, I suppose, to use over in Vegas. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good evening.
Okay, so hello, guys. I mean, she doesn't really need any introduction, does she? Because if you're in the industry and you don't know Teryn, should you even be in the industry, really?
That's awfully sweet.
All the
Hi,
way
Sherry.
from Vegas. So, tattooing for 21 years, Teryn.
21 years. It'll be 22 this September. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
And you was a body artist before PMU, wasn't you?
Well, I started in PMU, and then my brows were all changing color. So I was like, fuck this. This is like stressing me out. I'm going to go do body tattooing, and went into body tattooing, and thank God I didn't quit PMU, found a pigment line that worked for me and ended up doing both, for all these years. So yeah.
Amazing. So you work very closely with Li, don't you? Did you actually help formulate Lift?
Yes. Yeah, I worked I was, I've been doing removal we're over 15 years now, almost 16 years now. And so when I started doing removal, it was not popular. It was not a thing. I couldn't pay somebody to come learn it. I couldn't pay anybody to come learn it. And we were using just salt, regular salt, and we would buy, saline solution for the eyes at the pharmacy, mix it up ourselves, which was probably not the safest thing to do back then.
I remember when I trained in Saline originally, I was taught to go and get the little sachets of salt from McDonald's because they're sterile.
Yes.
And mix that in with a little pod of saline.
Yes, and we did the same thing at McDonald's because the salt was really fine, so it would dissolve really, really easy and really nicely. And it worked well enough, right, Layla? It worked okay. At least it was something. And then I started trying other formulas and whatnot. And about 6 years ago, I called Li, the chemist at Li, and I said, I really want to make a form, like something different, something that really works, something safe, something that can be used around the eyeliner, because
I think that's the big one for me with Lift, is that it's safe to use around the eye, because a lot of removals aren't, are they?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it if we couldn't make something around the eyes, because a lot of migrations, blowouts, big chunky wings that people don't want anymore, how to be safe around the eyes. And so, we spent many years on Lift, and and here we are today. So yeah, I love it.
Amazing. So what makes Lift different to just using saline and salt?
Saline with saline and salt, it's salt. It's just salt. With Lift, we did a lot of R&D. There's a lot of different salts that can be used, right? There's a lot of different salts. And so what we ended up doing was combining different salts, and it's also the percentage of salt. So we figured out a combination of salts and the right percentage of salts. And then we started playing with different things to add, and we ended up settling on orange, which, if you told me we would end up putting orange seed extract in a removal product, I would say orange. No, shouldn't it be lemon or something more acidic? But orange, come to find out, works really, really, really well. And we combined that with lemon and calendula and aloe vera, skin conditioning and skin healing. So it's a really, really unique formula. I think there's not one like it still today. And we made it strong enough that it works, even in the most challenging cases, but it can be used around the eyes. So in a lot of saline solutions, they're very, very limited. You can't use them around the eyes.
No, there's a lot of I mean, I've trained in loads of removal systems over the years, and Lift is the only one that specifically says it's safe to use around the eyes. Like
we have to be careful, of course. It's like our anesthetics. If you get a lot of anesthetic into someone's eye, they're gonna feel some burning and some unpleasant, discomfort, and we'll flush it and then they're fine. It doesn't hurt the eye, but it can feel stingy. and
Yeah,
uncomfortable
don't
to
dip
the
it in. Don't go to
yeah,
the eye.
right. And, and it's the same with the lift. When you're doing it around the eye, just be careful like we are with our anesthetics. If it gets in the eye, flush, but it's not going to harm the eye. So.
Brilliant. Okay, so Teryn's got a presentation for us, and we're just going to talk a little bit on osmosis, so the process on how the removal will work on your clients. We're going to talk about lift, difference between saline versus laser, and Teryn's got some case studies as well to show you guys. I'm going to keep you on mute if that's okay, just so we don't have interference, but the chat box is open. So if anyone's got any questions as we go through this, pop your questions in the chat and then we'll kind of answer them as we go. Oh, sorry, multitasking. I'm terrible at multitasking. Just letting someone else in. Yeah, so we'll have a little chat. Any questions, pop them in the chat box, and then we've got a little surprise for you at the end as well.
What time is it over there? Like, is it 7?
7, yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you, Layla, because usually when I ask to do like these lectures, with someone in the UK, I mean, they want me at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and I'm like not a morning person. So when you were like 11, I'm like, yes.
Right. To be fair though, evenings tend to work better for us because the girls are in the clinic all day.
Right.
So it's easier for people to jump on in the evening. So it's worked well actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I see all you guys. Okay, want me to pull my PowerPoint up?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see how smooth I am with this. I think I'll be okay. Right here.
And also, guys, just if you're not yet offering removal, I definitely think it's something that you should be offering. There's over the years, it's become more and more popular. And I just think if it's not that a huge money maker, is it, Teryn, removal? Like, it's never going to make you rich, but it means you can help that client. You can get them back to the results they want. And if you don't offer removal when you send them somewhere else, if that artist does removal, you've probably just lost a client.
Yeah. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to actually my first slide. I'm going to talk about. Yeah. Okay, you ready for me to get going?
Go for it.
And I'm somebody who likes a little bit back and forth. So if you guys have any questions, I'm not in a rush. Go ahead and ask. Nice. Okay. So like what Layla was just talking about is, why should I offer this service? And there's a lot of reasons. I think the number one answer for me is because you get to help people in a really profound way. The work itself is really rewarding. I know doing PMU, giving people eyebrows, eyeliners, lips, doing that stuff, it's super fun. That's also rewarding. But there's something.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But there's something very different and special about when someone comes to you with something unattractive that got tattooed on their face. They're not happy. They see it every time they look in the mirror, and it's affecting their self-esteem. It's affecting how they feel about themselves. And then we get to step in and we get to perform saline lightning, and we get to remove that for that person. It's very, very rewarding. There's many situations where we end up really emotional, I end up getting really teary and emotional over it. So I think the number one answer for me is the work itself is very, very rewarding, and we get to help a lot of people. And there is a lot of people out there that need this kind of help, especially nowadays.
It's the last couple of years, I'd say the amount of removals we do now has probably trebled. It's just
my gosh. Yeah. I've got 3 artists in here. We all do removals, and we're all doing them weekly. We all have a removal weekly. It's very busy. And if you are already doing corrections, like with modifiers, because of course there's 2 different type of corrections, right? To address a correction, we can use we can color shift using modifiers, you know, and then we can do removal, and it's, you know, we need to know when to actually saline is needed. Even though I'm a big saline person, if I don't have to put somebody through saline removal, I'm not going to. If I can just color shift, then that's what I'm going to do. But if the brow's too thick, if it's misplaced, you know, things like that, well, then we need saline. And many times I'm actually doing a little bit of removal and color correction on the same client to complete that correction for that woman. So there's going to be many, many times that you need to do saline removal along with your color correction to really get the ultimate correction for that client. As far as on the business side, it attracts a whole new set of clientele. There is not that many people in Vegas doing saline. You know, I don't know about your areas, but if you're one of two or three in your area offering this service, then this is going to attract a whole new set of clientele. And like Layla was mentioning earlier, maybe they came to you for saline removal, saline lightening, but 99.9% of the time, these saline removal clients, they become your PMU clients. A lot of them will come to me and I'll say, well, once we get this lightened, is it your intention? Are you going to have another brow tattooed back on? And half of them are like, no, you know, they had a very bad experience. They're afraid and they say no. But by the time they've gone through 2, 3, or 4 saline removal sessions with me, now they love me, right? Because I'm cute and I'm
with them.
Yeah, you create a relationship with them. And I'm funny and I'm cute with my clients. I enjoy my clients. So during those removal sessions, they get to know you and your personality and they start to trust you. So at the end of the removal journey, most of them, yes, they do want to do permanent makeup again. And of course, you're their girl. They will be loyal to you for the rest of their life. They will never leave you because you're the one that removed that bad work and put something pretty back on their face. If they choose not to do a PMU with you, they become one of your best source of referrals. They really do. Once you, like I said, once you've stepped in, you've done removal and you've helped that client is forever grateful. If you're not already doing removal, what you'll experience is it is emotional. Don't you find, Layla? It becomes, I cry with a lot of my clients. I mean, we get like big tears running down our eyes, for Pete's sake. You've become their saving grace. In many cases, I was their last chance of hope. If I didn't say yes, take this on and help them, they were stuck with it. And once you help somebody like that, like I said, they just trust you and they're your client and they're going to refer you for the rest of their life. And the other thing is saline can be used in areas that laser cannot. And it's really good to connect with your laser doctors. Just because I do saline, I am not against laser. There's some things that I turn away because it's too big. We don't ever want to take on anything too big because of, you know, a large, like a big tattoo. Now that creates a large wound and we don't really want to take that on, you know, with our needles. So there's cases that I'll refer them to laser doctors. And then there's a lot of laser doctors in Vegas that will refer things to me for saline. So you can really connect with your local laser technicians, your laser doctors, form a really great relationship and cross-refer each other. Because most laser doctors, most of them will decline going around the eyes, and most of them will not laser around the lip area, the lips. So, but saline can do that. Lift can do that. Lift can definitely remove eyeliners. It can remove the lips. And again, so it's a rewarding service. It will increase your clientele. And in the end, it increases your income. I always hate talking about money because this really isn't about money, but And I threw that in there. So, because, some people are more business minded, than me. I'm more about, the
Helping.
service.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gap filler as well, I think. Like if I've got a little hour gap in my day, I couldn't fit a PMU treatment in there, but I can always fit a removal in there. So if you are thinking that kind of way,
Yeah, and the other thing to get clients, when people are going through cancer treatments, they put the little dot of ink so the laser, can find it. A lot of people don't want that dot of ink. You can connect with the laser cancer clinics, remove those little dots of ink. You can do it pro bono. It takes you 5 minutes. They're in and out in 5 minutes. I don't even numb them. And then, just by doing that for them pro bono, it's literally 10 minutes of your day for free to help a cancer survivor to remove that little dot of ink. And because you do that for them, they're going to refer you, or when they're ready for PMU, they're going to come back. People that tattoo their face, like gang people that get out of the gangs and now have these tattoos on their face. We do a lot of that. So yeah, it's just a very, very, very rewarding service. And like you said, you don't have to draw, you don't have to design, you don't have to pick color, you don't have to do any of that. So it's very quick service.
And that just answers Abby's question. So Abby's just put, why is it so much shorter in time? So yeah, exactly that, Abby. There's no pre-draw, no color selection. You're literally just going over exactly what's there.
Yeah, I always tell people, Layla, I hate to say this, but after you do so many saline removers, that shit gets a little boring, because it's not, you're not designing, you don't have to draw, you don't have to think of color. There's just, you just have to do perfect technique, proper depth, good movement. And so it becomes a little bit, after 15 years, it's a little bit, mundane. So it becomes a little bit typical. So I always get excited for the end, when we get to that result. But
I love it when they come back. Like I always ask my lift clients to come in about 6 weeks time for a little review. And when they come in and you can see it's all healed and you can see your actual result, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just saw somebody ask, can you do saline removal and color correction the same session? I do nowadays if I think I can do it without cross-contaminate, but if you're new to saline, I would not starting out. But there are some instances where, yes, you're going to, once you get skilled enough, there are some instances where you can do it. But what you got to be careful is once you tattoo in some new pigment, if you're going to do a little removal, you do not want to get that removal into the area you just tattooed, and vice versa. If you're do removal and then you do the little tattooing, you do not want to wipe that pigment into the area you just did removal on. So you have to be super, super careful. So I would say in many instances, no. And I personally always choose to do my color correcting first. Then I'll remove all the little things sticking out. And then there are some cases where, yes, you can do it safely and responsibly. So I guess it's a case by case basis. Okay, let's get off this slide. Okay, so let's just go a little bit between laser tattoo removal and saline light and the differences. I didn't know if you wanted me to throw this in there. If this is boring, then I can take it out. But removal, I think, Layla, because it wasn't popular in the industry, it just exploded 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, especially the last 3 years. But for 10, 12 years leading up to that, there was a few of us doing a lot of removal, but it wasn't necessarily talked about on, in PMU, and it wasn't very popular and not many people wanted to learn it. But removal has been around for a very, very long time. And, 40, 50 years ago, they were using goat's milk, that was because it has lactic acid. So that was a really common product used, because for years and years people have had bad tattoos, bad PMU, so they've been trying to figure out a way to remove it. And then the topical creams got really popular, right? I don't know over in the UK, but here in America, Wrecking Bomb back in the 90s and early 2000s was really popular. And it was this cream that you could buy and, you know, put a little cream, you know, over the eyebrow or the tattoo, and it was supposed to fade it. And of course it did not, right? Most of these products contain like kojic acid, TCA, hydroquinone, things like that for fading. And they may fade the tattoo slightly, but they certainly, these products do not penetrate deep enough to actually remove the tattoo. And some of these products can actually end up causing scarring and skin damage because, you know, they're promoted that they work, but then the client buys them and it's not working. So they might start leaving it on longer than the directions say. So these are not efficient. They're not effective. Even when you get up to the 70% glycolics, they're just not effective when you're talking applying topically. Surgical removal. Has anybody had a client where they actually had their eyebrow cut out by a surgeon and stitched back up? Has anybody? Have you, Layla? You've been
No,
doing this a
I've
lot.
never had a client with it. I have seen them, but
I've had two
body tattoos, not on the PMU.
Oh, good Lord. I have two. I should have thrown one of the pictures in here, but I've had two in 22 years where they actually went to a doctor and he cut out the bad tooth and stitched it back up. So I had a vertical scar to deal with. But this was quite common, especially with like darker skin clients, right? Because if you look down here, I'll move my big head, but you know, darker skin can really hyperpigment. So rather than having like a big area where there's a, you know, a big discoloration in their skin, a lot of people would rather have a really, you know, neat vertical or linear, you know, scar to deal with. But you know, you can do skin grafting and whatnot. This is extreme, of course. I mean, somebody must really hate their tattoo to go to a surgeon. Can you imagine what this even costs to have a surgeon like remove your tattoo? But people were doing it, you know, for sure. And then there's dermabrasion and salibrasion. Dermabrasion is the process of like sanding down those upper layers of skin with like a rotary, like abrasive wheel. And can you imagine how painful this is? I do not think this is going on like in modern developed countries anymore. But you never know. It wouldn't surprise me if somewhere someone is doing this. But, you know, in parts of the world that do not have the tools, the access, the education that we have, you know, this still may be going on. And it's very, very, very painful. Salibration, it's the same thing. It's sanding down the layers of the skin to get to the tattoo, but it's used with like lemon juice and like salt. The salt is really coarse, really chunky, and they, you know, they usually wrap it around a wooden block or a spoon, dip it in lemon, roll it in the chunky salt and grind, grind, grind. And super painful, right? Can be super dangerous. All this can lead to, you know, complications, scarring, infection. And salibration, believe it or not, is still being referred and advised on some of our Facebook boards.
No way.
Yeah. It was about a year ago. I was on a board. Someone tagged me and it was a newbie, right? Like a brand new gal. And she had done a pair of eyebrows. And her client called her like the next day, hated them. They were too thick. This, wanted them removed, very upset. So the new artist posted the picture and said, you know, she's very upset. She wants them removed. What should I do? And quite a few people advised her to tell her client to get a washcloth or a towel and dip it in lemon juice and salt and to rub. That is salibration, right? That is salibration. So I private messaged the newbie and told her, please don't do that. That could lead to infection and scarring, complication, and you could get sued. Legally, you cannot advise somebody to go home and do salivation on themselves.
I think
So thank God we got emergency removal now, which we'll talk about. Yes.
But I think if you Google it, it must, because I have had clients that have come in for removals and
Right.
they've obviously Googled it before finding me, and this is what they're doing at home before they actually go and get it removed properly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's, it's like, Layla, it's like, oh my gosh, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. We do have emergency removal now, which we'll talk about. And it's a really safe manner, safe way to immediately, remove an eyebrow that's freshly done. So, okay. And then there's the laser method, right? And so laser is fantastic. I think laser and saline together are two really great avenues for removing PMU and saline. Body tattooing. Laser can have some restrictions, right? I guess there's some restrictions with both, and we will talk about that. Laser works by producing like a short pulse of light that penetrates deep enough down into the skin to reach the pigment, and then the pigment absorbs that laser light. The intense light, it breaks up the pigment into like super tiny little fragments so the body can remove it through the immune system. And this is just a little graph showing you, when we put pigment into the skin and once it heals in bigger pieces, too big for the immune system to remove it. So that's why we have to go and do laser. Laser will break it up into tiny little pieces so it can be removed by the immune system. So this is one instance, just one example where saline and laser is different. Laser pushes the pigment back down deeper into the body to be removed through the body, right? By sweat, urine, and fecal matter. Runs through the lymph system and gets removed through waste. Whereas saline, because of the osmosis process, it is lifted up to the surface of the skin and out of the body. And this, if you're going to do removal, I think this is a great little graph or a great little explanation to have handy to give to your clients, because many clients, if they have gone through cancer, if they have Crohn's disease, MS, diabetes, maybe they have no health issues, but they eat organic and they eat very clean and they're careful what they put into their bodies. A lot of them are not comfortable with the fact that pigment is pushed deeper in the body, runs through their lymphatic system and removed through waste. That makes some people uncomfortable. They don't want that. They want the pigment to be lifted up and out through the skin, the outer layers of the skin. So this is a great way to explain the simple difference between laser and saline.
Would you ever recommend like a bit of both, like laser and saline on one tattoo?
I've never done that. I've never taken on a saline removal and then suggested laser. What we have done is I've had doctors do 8, 9, 10 sessions of laser, and it gets stuck to a point, there's no more lightening, and then I'll take that on and do lift, and lift oftentimes can continue the process and get it lighter. Yeah. Have you done both saline and laser with one removal?
I don't do laser, but I've just seen in the forums a lot lately, people are saying, like, it's really contradicting, because some people will say do one session of laser to break it up, then do saline, and then other people will say no, do saline first, then blast it with laser.
Yeah, and that's not really like my philosophy. I think for me, look, I work with like 2 or 3 laser doctors here in town, so I respect laser. And a couple of them have, the really good laser, like the PicoSures, the new lasers. And on average, a laser removal session on an average, tattoo or small tattoo or an eyebrow take like 6 to 12 sessions. Typically it's 8 to 12 sessions. But in all my, using lift, I think we're removing quicker than that. I think not that we don't have some cases that are really stubborn, really challenging, and we're doing 7 or 8 sessions, but on average, I mean, I think we're doing between like 3 and 4 sessions to where we can now go in and do a little color correcting, or for me personally, I think lift can remove in many cases faster in less sessions than laser. That's just my opinion, my experience.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of clients that have had laser, been unsuccessful again after 8-10 sessions, then they've come to me to try lift instead. I think sometimes laser can be just advertised a little bit misleading. It's thought to be a very quick method, like one laser session and it's disappeared.
It's not quick.
Not the case at all. Yeah.
No, it's not quick at all. And it hurts like hell. It hurts way more than, what we do. And and it can be more expensive nowadays too, especially with some of these newer lasers.
So Sherry is asking, she said she knows you can't predict or you say an exact amount of sessions with lift, but she's done online training in lift. She's fairly new to it. But most of them are on their 4th or 5th session without much lightening so far. Could it be a technique, or does she need to keep going and be patient?
I got a slide. So is that Sherry?
Is that Sherry?
I do. I've got some slides addressing all the variable and a patient slide too, Sherry. I have one because even I have to be patient, right? Because I want fast, quick results. And sometimes we do get it. My answer to that before, that I'll answer right now is if it's case after case after case after case, everybody you're removing, it's, 5, 6, 7 sessions, then there's probably something with your technique. Because what we're seeing with my own removal and lots and lots and lots of people now that have been doing this for quite some time is, yes, there's some cases it's 5, 6, 7 sessions, but that also getting cases that are 1 or 2 sessions, 3 or 4. It should be, you should have different pockets. So if it's always 6, 7 sessions every single time and no clients are 2 sessions or 3 sessions, then I would say probably it might be something with your technique. Maybe you're not getting enough product into the skin with your implantation. Maybe you're going a bit too shallow, which I'd rather you go too shallow than too deep. But so that would be my answer to that.
I think as well, I get it a lot with my students, like when you're new to removal and you see all of that bleeding, you have, because when we do PMU, we're taught, you don't want to see any bleeding or be super light and don't overwork the skin. And then you go on to removals and it's like you have a meltdown. And that's exactly what I done in the beginning with removals. I wasn't saturating the skin enough, wasn't getting results. But the minute you get more confident with it, and
that's what I think it is, Layla. I think it's a matter of they get a little nervous from the bleeding and all the redness and they lighten up their pressure, or they don't, keep saturating, because no matter how much bleeding I see, no matter how much redness, as long as nothing complicated, I don't see no complication per se. I do 3 full passes and I'm doing packing movements. I'm doing circular movements. And really packing in that product. I want a lot of salt in that product to cause the movement of water upwards. And that will make sense to you once we get to that slide as well. And that's why I don't recommend whip shading. It's not that whip shading is a bad movement or damages the skin or anything like that, but whip shading is not a saturation movement. It's a blending movement. So whip shading, it doesn't put in and deliver a lot of pigment or product. But whip shading is probably the best movement we have for blending getting, pixels and just these beautiful buttery, results. But as far as saturation and implanting, depositing a lot of pigment, a lot of product, circular movements with a larger needle, that combination puts in a lot of product. So maybe just a little adjustment, with your needle choice and the way you're working. Yeah. So with laser method, with laser, it's all based on like how deep does that wavelength, penetrate the skin, and what color does it target? Because there's like different wavelengths when it comes to lasers, and each wavelength travels a certain distance and it targets certain colors. So there's not like one laser wavelength that penetrates all depths and targets all colors. So, and we know that, black tends to settle the deepest, because it has the smallest particle size, even iron oxide, but carbon especially, has a really tiny particle size. So that settles, deep. The greens, the blues, the purples, whether it's iron oxide or organics, those tend to settle in the skin mid-level. White, yellow, orange, anything with a lot of titanium or these light colored, they tend to have larger particles. Those will settle closer to the surface. So when you're talking laser, you've got to have lasers where you can switch and go to different wavelengths to target the different depths. All these pigments are going to settle, and again to target all the different colors. So if the ink or the pigment in the skin, if it's not absorbed by the laser light, then it doesn't shatter. If it doesn't shatter, then it won't remove. So you got to make sure, if you have a multicolored tattoo, you're going to a clinic or a doctor that has either multiple lasers so they can switch cartridges and use multiple wavelengths to hit all the colors. So all the colors remove. And the benefit of saline is saline, doesn't care where it is in the skin depth wise, and it doesn't care what color it is. It recognizes pigment uniformly. So that is including white. So that is one of the benefits of saline. Saline just doesn't care where it is in the skin, doesn't target depth, and it doesn't target color, targets pigment uniformly. And then we have titanium, right, Layla, which, when we were developing Lift, it's like, I've worked with some saline solutions in the past that we just could not get titanium to remove. And laser is not good with titanium, right? Laser tattoo removal, it requires that there's colored pigment. The laser has to identify it, and it has to be absorbed by the light. Titanium's white, and so the laser can't really identify it, right? White is reflective, so it doesn't necessarily absorb light as well as the other colors. And when titanium is exposed to light, it tends to oxidize, turn black and gray. Once that white turns black and gray by the laser, it may be permanent. The doctor can switch lasers and now target the gray or the black, and it can be removed. It just may be longer sessions. I think the whole thing is a pain in the butt. I think that's why a lot of, here in Vegas, we don't really find any doctors or laser techs removing white or the pastel body tattoo colors. And that's why a lot of them just will not remove permanent eyebrows, because they know that we have some titanium in some of our colors. So Lift, this is a good example. This is Yelena. She's out of Kazakhstan. And I taught her Lift maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. She became a trainer and distributor. She fell in love with it. But this is only 2 sessions of Lift, and this is on an eyelid. And it was covering up all that black. It was a little bit of a migration going on, and it was just a mess. And this is 2 sessions of Lift, and you can see how well Lift removed all that titanium and started to remove the black as well. We don't always get lucky to where it's 2 sessions. It can be 3, can be 4 sessions. I'm working on eyeliner right now where both lids have a strip of white across it. And it's about 50% gone. And I just did my third session. So I'm predicting a fourth, maybe a fifth, but no laser doctor will remove that for her. It's either me or no one. So, so sometimes it can take longer. Titanium, especially if it's like a poor quality titanium, it can be more stubborn and it can take longer sessions, right? Because just like everything else, there's high quality titanium pigment manufacturers can work with, and there's poor quality titanium. And the poor quality has, really big particle sizes, and it's just a beast to work with. So, but
Great result, isn't it?
What's that?
Great result.
Great result.
Yeah.
She was so happy. I think after that procedure is when, she wanted to get really involved and be a trainer and distribute it in Kazakhstan. So, so it was great. So one thing we weren't sure of is if someone who has an eyebrow with titanium and they go get laser and it does turn gray or black like we see in this picture, can we go remove that with lift? And we weren't really sure, wasn't sure, and until we got a case. And you can see that it definitely did. So this was an eyebrow that got laser, and I think this was our second laser session, and a lot of it turned just the tail, and I don't know why just the tail, but turned like this dark charcoal. And then did lift removal session 1, and it whitened the pigment a little bit, as you can see, but it really removed that oxidated pigment that was hit by laser. So now we know, we've seen 3 or 4 other cases now of this same exact situation. So now we know that we can use lift on an area that was hit by laser and oxidized. So this is really the fun part. This is what I love to talk about. Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, it's like you got, there's a lot of formulas out there, once like lift got popular, saline got popular, then of course lots of products flood the market. And there was so many programs out there trying to tell you that you needed to buy a certain machine with their formula, and I'm like, that's just bullshit. I mean, I would tell me that's bullshit. Has nothing to do with, I mean, of course you want a good quality machine with your PMU work, and if you have a good quality machine, then that machine works with Saline. You don't need no special machine. There was just a lot of, you know what I mean, a lot of marketing crap trying to get you to spend a bunch of money. And there's nothing more simplistic, more natural than saline. A good saline product, it doesn't have to have chemicals and acids at all, and you can use your good quality machine that you probably already have on hand that you're using for your PMU work. It's very simplistic. There's a couple of movements that I've been using for 15 years that works. It's just a very simple process and a very simple product, but people want to come in and try to make it more complicated than it is. So saline works, and this has been around for a long time, but it works on the theory of osmosis, right? So osmosis is a process by which molecules of a solvent, water, pass through a semi-permeable membrane, our skin, from a less concentrated solution to a more concentrated solution. And what that does is and why that movement of water is caused is to create equalization, to create the same amount of salt on both sides in all areas. So I'll explain that a little bit further. If you look at this graph right here, this first glass right here, can you see my pointer? No? Okay. You see this first glass, that's okay. If you fill a glass, right, so let's, with the same amount of water, and you put a divider in the middle. And let's say that's skin, right? Semi-permeable, which is skin, that's skin. And you put more salt on one side and you put less salt on the other side. And you let that glass sit there for a few hours. And you go back and you take a look at it. This is what you're going to see. The side that you put more salt, you can see that the water raised, right? That side has now more water, the water raised. And why it raised is the high amount of salt in that water caused the water with the least amount of salt to move. So it's the movement of water. The water moved to the other side of the glass where there was a higher amount of salt to create equalization. Because look at the first glass again, there's more salt on that one side and less salt on the other side. But now look at the second glass. There's more salt, yes, on that side, but now there's more water, right? There's less water, less salt on the other side. So that creates this equalization, the same amount of salt on either side. And that's exactly what happens in the skin when we're talking saline removal. So our bodies have a certain amount of salt. We have a lot of water in our bodies, and we have a certain amount of salt. So we have an eyebrow. Let's say we've got this blue eyebrow, and underneath and around that eyebrow is water. It's a water, and there's salt in our water. So, basically we have saline in our body. When we go and we introduce an implant a high amount of salt, higher than the body, and that's what Li, Mattia and Blanca and Darlene and I all had to figure out, what is the perfect amount, right? Because if it's too much, you can burn somebody, you can hurt somebody. If it's too less, then you're not going to get, efficient results. So we had to find this perfect amount. But when you implant a perfect amount of salt into the skin, the water in the cells beneath the pigment that contain the lower amount of salt in the water, well, they start to rise. They start to rise because of that osmosis causing the need for equalization. That water starts to rise to the top, to the higher concentration of salt. It has to, right? It has to. It's just the way nature works. And equalization forces the pigment from the dermal layer up to the epidermis by that osmotic pressure. And it's just like, again, it's just this natural process. And as the water is moving up towards the higher concentration of salt, the pigment gets trapped. We hope the water takes pigment with it, right? Moves the pigment up with it, or a good amount of it, or at least some of it, and it gets trapped in the scab. And when that scab falls off, the pigment goes with it. That's why the scab is so important. That's why we don't put, for PMU, we want the pigment to stay in the skin. We put, a little bit of, ointment. We don't want to get a lot of scabbing. But with removal, it's different. We want to get a big chunky scab. We want to protect the scab, no ointment, no nothing. And we want the client to hold on to that scab as long as possible. Because think of the scab as kind of like the catcher's mitt. As long as that scab is there, then it's going to collect the pigment. And once that scab goes off, like I said, we hope that a lot of pigment goes with it. Does that make sense to everybody, or does anybody have any questions?
Just have a quick look. There's a question from Linda, but it's to do with a different removal system. So I don't know if you've heard of removal, Teryn?
No, I have not.
I think it's more chemical removal. So it's using an acid, it's a no bleed method. Client then takes home pH 8 to use at home. She hasn't done a client yet, but I was just wondering if you had any opinions on it.
I've never heard of it, so I don't have any opinions on it. If it's a topical, then I've never come across a topical, like something that you place topically that works.
Yeah. Do you needle it in, Linda?
Yeah, is she causing any
Yes.
type of puncture?
Ah.
She's causing some type of puncture. Yeah,
Yes,
it may
you
work.
put
It
the
may work. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I've never heard of it. The one thing I would say, Linda, to be careful of is a lot of insurance. I don't know about the UK, but here in America, we cannot get insurance for anything chemical or acid. We're not insured for it. So I would say just contact your insurance company, and that it does contain acid. Make sure that your insurance company will insure you for acid. Here,
Yeah.
they will not. And I know a lot of countries, a lot of places, you can't get insured. Anything acid or chemical, they want it under a physician, a doctor.
Yeah, I remember training in Rejuve years and years ago. It was the first system I trained in, and oh my God, the scarring was horrendous with it. It was
Yeah.
awful. And then I swear never again, I'd never touch chemical removals after that.
Yeah, we just got someone in yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before yesterday, and got her eyebrow done, and with someone else in Vegas. The client sat up, and the tail was really long, like really super long, and the client didn't like this. So the technician, we don't know what she used. Don't know what she used. I don't think she told us the truth on the phone, but the technician actually called us, said, I have a client, I'm sending her to you for emergency removal. She's very unhappy, but and she said, she's got just a little wound from razor burn. I shaved her. So she comes in, I'm like, that is not razor burn at all. It was like the size of a quarter, and it looked like a deep chemical burn is what it looked like. Yeah, I think the technician tried to use peroxide or some type of acid or glycolic to remove the long portion of the tail, and completely burned her. Yeah, so just be careful, be careful. And the big thing is just contact your insurance company and make sure they allow that. That's the big thing.
Yeah. We struggle with insurance anyway over here with removals.
Yeah. We had to change up some things, and I had to add some things to the online course. So you UK girls were all squared away. I know.
So, Abby said, so essentially it's drawing out our bodily fluids, which is in turn drawing out the pigment. Yes.
Yeah. And it's the like a high dosage of salt in water causes water to move. So it's the movement of water. So as that water moves to the surface, it brings that water lifts and brings the pigment with it. Yes, that's why we don't use epinephrine. We don't want to constrict, because blood moves forward, body oil, lymph, that all moves upward. And the theory is that if we use epinephrine and constrict, then you could limit the flow upward. So we use non-epis. Sometimes I don't even use a secondary.
I don't use secondary. I'm a bit of a meanie with my clients.
We don't always need it. If you don't need it, don't use it. If you need it, get a non-epi. And because I just think the flow upward, you don't want to stop or suppress the flow of anything upward. Water, blood, lymph, oil, keep everything flowing to the top. Yeah.
Amazing. Someone said this Zoom is amazing and so informative. So thank you.
Can you see my little head? It's like I got a head with no body down there, right? It's really weird. Oh, there's my body. I know. I'm like, it's so weird. Okay, let's go. Are you laughing at me, Olivia? Okay, my girl's laughing at me. Okay, let's go over the difference between saline and laser. Let's just go down the bullet points. So probably the big difference, because clients will ask you, what's the difference between saline and laser? The big difference, technical difference, is laser pushes and removes pigments down through the body. Saline lifts it up and out of the body. That's the big difference. Saline is not color restricted or depth restricted, where laser is. Laser can turn titanium black or gray. Saline will not. Tattooing the skin after it has been lasered several times is often very unsuccessful, because the heat of that laser causes so much scar tissue to the skin. It becomes shiny, the texture of the skin can change, and oftentimes we weren't able to tattoo in another eyebrow because they had so many laser sessions, and that doesn't really happen with saline. We don't have to worry about that with saline. A big one is if your client has eyebrow hair, laser can definitely permanently remove eyebrow hair, even if the technician says, well, this laser does not. I would not believe that. It can remove eyebrow hair permanently, for sure. We've seen it probably 20 times happen to a client here at Girls Inc. And it wasn't supposed to happen with this particular laser, but it did. And their hair don't grow back. So I tell everybody, no matter what laser it is or what the technician or doctor tells you, there's a chance you could permanently lose your eyebrow hair. And of course, saline will never cause you to lose your eyebrow hair. Saline is restricted to smaller tattoos, and a laser is excellent for the bigger tattoos, right? We only have our needles. So if you're creating this big wound, a big open wound, higher risk for, complication and infection, longer healing. And we don't really want that as PMU artists. So if the body tattoo is like bigger than maybe a deck of cards, send them to laser, because they can swipe that wand over that large tattoo very, very quickly. And then they're under, different care. We don't have to worry about it. So I personally would not recommend taking on a big tattoo. That's where laser can come in very, very handy. And laser can't be used around the eyes in most cases, or the lips. Very restricted there, where saline can. So where laser has some restrictions, that's where saline can step in, because we don't have those same restrictions with saline. What else? All right, so let's just talk about the solution itself. I started formulating this working with Mattia, Darlene, and Blanca maybe 7 years ago. 7 years ago. And adjusted the formulation many times until I got what I thought was a winner finally. So it is made by LI Pigments in a state regulated licensed lab, here in America, in New Jersey, under the most sterile conditions. We also, anything LI, we also, once we feel the formula is done and ready to launch, we send it to an outside lab, not affiliated with LI, and it sits for 90 days. We just want to make sure no bacteria forms, nothing like that. So we also do outside testing, for sterility. It's a high salt-based fruit seed extract, saline lightning product containing no acids, no chemicals. The ingredients are very simple. Salt. Salt promotes the lifting of pigment because of the movement of that water. And we use, like I said earlier, we use different salts, different percentages. And I think we got that. It took me a long time. I thought LI was going to kill me, but I think we got that perfect. And it's the perfect amount. There's no guessing. You don't have to mix. I've seen a couple new solutions come out where they're selling you the bottle of salt and then they're selling you saline and you mix it yourself. Well, I kind of think of that, maybe later you do, that's going back 15 years. Yeah, that's going backwards. Yeah, it's going backwards. And I think it can be dangerous. And although Layla and I did do that 15 years ago, The reason we did it 15 years ago, because it's all there was. That's all there was. And thank God nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
But now you've got these super smart engineered solutions like Lift that are made by, at LI, Mattia, she's a chemist and a biologist. So they're super smart, engineered perfectly. So yeah, I don't like the mixing ones. It's got lemon seed extract. It's got orange seed extract, which is great for fading and exfoliation of old pigment. It's got aloe vera and calendula extract. Aloe vera, of course, really helps the skin heal and soothes the skin because this is a rough process, right? I mean, we're defying gravity. We're causing pigment to move up and out of the skin. So rather than following gravity and depositing pigment down into the skin. So it is a little bit, it can be a little bit rougher heal for the client. Calendula, same thing. It's skin soothing, but it also is antifungal, antibacterial, and inflammatory. So I think that's a really important ingredient in Lift. Sterile water and sodium benzoate. So very simple ingredients. There's no separation with grit and no grit, which was really important. And I think getting the right consistency was important because I wanted both machine techs and hand tool techs to be able to use this. And we wanted to be able to use it around the eye area. If it was too drippy, it was too risky that it was just going to drip all into the eye. So it was just finding this perfect viscosity that wasn't too thick and wasn't too drippy. And we adjusted that 2 or 3 times. And I always put out there, look, with every other form of removal, there are risks of scarring and hypopigmentation, especially if you don't follow proper protocol and all the little tidbits, the do's and don'ts I give you on the course, because everything bad that can happen in removal, believe me, it's happened to me because I started doing it so long ago and we were all teaching ourselves back then. There were no classes on removal basically, and you couldn't even get insurance for it. You're talking 18 years ago, you couldn't even get insured for this anywhere in the world. And I think the US, Mary Jane Hockey and Margie Grimm where they solicited and got some of the first insurance available. And that only came about 17, 18 years ago. Could we even get insured? Did this become a legit procedure the industry recognized as something of value, But yeah, so there you go. Here's that. What else do I got for you girls? Any questions? Oh, this is a good slide, but is there any questions before I get to this?
Sherry's asking, could you clarify the aftercare and healing following Lift? But I don't know if you're going to come on to that one.
Yeah, I didn't put a slide in that, but I can definitely go over that. So the aftercare is, if you've taken the Lift course, the aftercare is right on there for you to print out.
Off, yeah.
Well, hopefully you've all taken the Lift course.
If you haven't, you should.
Well, if you haven't, look, we do 2 things. If you've already taken a saline removal course, just email me your receipt and we'll upload to the Lift course for 50% off. I want you to take the Lift course. And then today we've got a discount code for you. And anyway, so, but if you've taken a saline removal course already, it's probably going to be a bigger discount if you just email us your receipt. But if you don't have a receipt to email us and get 50% off, then we get a coupon code for you today to go on and take it. But it's almost like the aftercare is like different. It's the opposite of when we're tattooing eyebrows, we send them home. We want them to stop by the pharmacy and get a little saline wash that you put in your eyes, but we'll no longer have to do that. We formulated one. It just got out of independent testing. It passed all testing. So now we have a saline solution that is stronger than the saline solution that you can buy at the store, the pharmacy, the market, but certainly not as strong as Lift. So the clients can go home and dab with it 3 or 4 times a day for 3 or 4 days, which keeps introducing salt and also cleans the area, keeps the area clean. So we'll have them do that. No ointment, no lotion, no potion, don't pick the scab, no nothing. You know, you really want to protect that scab. We don't want to get it wet. Once the scab falls off, we have oil, healing oil that LI formulated just for removals to help with the discoloration of the skin and all that stuff. So, and like I said, on the course, it's all, you can print it right out, step by step by step, and put them in your client goodie bags, aftercare bags.
When will that Saline aftercare be available, Teryn?
It's being poured right now. I would say in the next 2 weeks, it just got out of independent testing. It sat in a separate lab for 90 days because we always want to make sure, you know, at room temperature, we always want to make sure that it's sterile, it doesn't grow any bacteria, you know, we do that with all our products. And so it passed with flying colors. So it's a great product.
Yeah.
And we made them very, very small, just enough for the client to take home and dab on a little cotton. And there's probably enough in there for the client to save and use for 1 or 2 more removals.
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So the biggest question was it Sherry? Sherry, you asked me how long? At least Sherry said, I know you can't predict. It's kind of like, right? It's kind of like people that ask me a question or want me to do something. I know you're super busy, but right? So Sherry, I know you can't predict, but how long will it take? And it is true, Sherry. We can't predict, and I always tell you guys, don't even try to predict your clients because they'll try to hold you to it. But how long a session will take, there's lots of different variables. First, it's the pigment to be removed. How many layers are there? How many times has this client had it done? Has she had it done by 2 or 3 technicians 4 or 5 times? You know, or she had it done once. How many layers? Is there titanium? Right? The more layers of pigment, the more session it can take. If there's titanium can, you know, be stubborn, especially if it's a poor quality titanium. That can cause it to take more sessions. How deep was it implanted? Right? If this is the surface of the skin and the pigment's really deep, can you see me? The pigment's really deep, then it's got a lot further to travel to get to the surface and fall off. If the pigment was tattooed very shallow, it's got less to travel to hit that surface. So if something's tattooed very deep, and we all know what that looks like, right? The minute you see it, you know, wow, that technician went deep. So if it's deep and it's saturated, it looks like a big solid block and it's deep, that can be several sessions, but that can be 7, 8 sessions. But it can also be that many sessions with laser. Laser, it won't be any less with laser. And that's what we have to try to remind our clients. It won't be quicker. A removal like that is not going to be quicker with laser. You know, it can be, some of these removals can be a long journey and some of them can be a lot faster. Where on the body are we removing? If the skin is thinner and it's dry, you know, it tends to remove faster. If the skin's thick and it's really oily, then it can be longer sessions, we find in some cases. And again, oily versus dry, right? Because if you've got a lot of oil, it's almost like sludge. You know, that pigment's got to, you know, move up through all that thick oil. If it's dry and there's no oil, then we don't have the barrier. Oil can act as a barrier. So we find pigment's going to move to the surface faster in drier skin and thinner skin. And then of course it comes down to the you know, the client, just like why, you know, you can use the same needle, same technique, same color on 2 sisters, and one will tattoo really, really well and heal with great color. And the other sister, same lifestyle, she doesn't tattoo very good. She gets really red. She doesn't take color well. She doesn't heal well. Why? I don't know. It's just because just different people. So the client themselves and their own healing process and the way their own skin is can definitely affect results. How the client takes care of it. While I'm cleaning up, the aftercare is not that long. I have them read me the aftercare while I'm cleaning up, so out loud. And then so we address every point, because it's important they don't get water on it. It's important that they keep it dry. And all these, no lotion, no potion, no nothing like that. So I just have them read me all the instructions while I'm cleaning up. And that's very, very helpful.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah.
You're reading it to them. They're not really listening half the time.
No, they're not listening half the time. Yeah. And I'm a busy girl. I want to clean, while I'm going over instructions. Yeah. But it makes it sink in more if the client actually has to read, the sentence. Okay. And then they tend to have a little bit more question for you on certain things, and you can address it. So, and then how much pigment needs to be removed, because we don't always have to go in and remove every lick of pigment. We don't have to. If it's perfectly placed, it's just too saturated. Why do we have to remove it all? If it's perfectly placed, we do not. Maybe we only have to remove 50% of it to create some space for new pigment, right? So maybe we only have to do a couple of sessions, remove 50% of the color, and then we can go in and color correct the rest of the way. So we don't always have to remove all of it. I think I'm very strategic. I always stress that, on the course, is be strategic on where you remove, how much you have to remove, when can you start introducing color correction as well, because the two together, work really well. I think some people, even on like my board, the Girls Inc. board or the Lift board, someone will post a picture and say, I'm not really sure if this needs to be, do I need saline or can I do color correction? And so many people jump and go, saline, you need to remove.
As well.
Yeah, and it's great, I'll just sell a little bit more live. It's great, I guess, but I don't agree with that. A lot of times I have a different opinion. I don't agree with that. There's a lot of things that are kind of more powdery. I don't see a lot of saturation, and why remove it if we don't have to? So I love to color correct as much and color shift. That is fascinating and fun and thrilling to me, as I love to pull it out of the skin. So the combination of both is a really is very empowering, and it's good to utilize both and know when to use one or the other, or the combination of both. In my experience, I tell all clients 1 to 7 sessions. On average, we're getting where we want in 3 to 4. That's my experience overall. What would you say your experience is,
Yeah,
Layla?
probably the same. If we're just we're going to color correct, or we're just lightening a little bit, then sometimes 2-3 sessions is fine. When we're going more for complete removal, then I'd always prepare the client for 4+, really.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with you too, because on those sessions where you don't have to remove it all, you're talking a couple of sessions. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at some healed results. I'm going to show you mostly I'm going to show you results from students that have taken the Lift course. I've been doing this a long time, but I think it's a little bit more impressive when you see results. So this is mine, this very first one. She's actually a Botox injector here in town. And you can see that was actually microblading, you guys. And of course it didn't heal microblading. You see no strokes. If you look closely, you can see some strokes, but that all migrated. So went very, very deep. And that's 3 sessions. And I was shocked. I thought this would definitely be 6, 7, sessions. The shape was not bad. Her shape was pretty decent. So I went into the removal with her not feeling I had to remove all of it, but it happened to remove almost all of it.
So.
Yeah, I know. I got really super, crazy. Crazy. But on anybody else, this could have been 6, 7, 8 sessions. It really could have been. And why it was only 3 to get this result, I don't know. And when you do a lot of removal, that's what happens. You know, things that you predict. That's why I say don't predict.
Yeah.
Because you look at that first brow, I would have predicted that would have been 7 or 8 sessions and a grueling process, and it was 3. And then on the flip side, you can have someone come in very powdery, and you look and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be 2 sessions, and it's 6,
Yeah.
and you don't know why. So it's like, don't try to predict on what it looks like.
Yeah.
That
the hard way.
It is, you know, it is. I stopped predicting a long time ago because I got myself get myself into trouble. But in the second one, look at that, orange and blue stripes, right? And this is Natalia. She's on the lift support board, and she does a lot of removals. And she got, I mean, that's a lot of lightning in one session. That's a lot of lightning in one session. God bless her. So I know she was going to do one more session to see if she could get more out. She may be able to get more out. Sometimes it stops at a certain point, and so we'll see how she goes with that. This one was also one session with my artist here, Michonne. So you can still see the outline a little bit on that brow, but got all the stripes and all the micro shading in between the stripes pulled out. So all very, very, you know, excellent results. A couple of them are one session. That one's 3 session. So this happens. So the girl, the gal that was asking, you know, everybody on that 4 and 5 sessions, I'm not seeing, you know, this happens. Once you've been doing removal long enough and you're doing a lot of them, you'll get these cases where you're like, hot damn, 2 sessions. Oh my God, this one was 3 sessions. Oh my God, look what happened in 1 session. This will happen to you. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. That's another one session. This is from Stephanie. And of course you can see there's still some up there, you know, there's some in the tail area, but it's a whole lot less. And I would have predicted this one would have been 5, 6, 7 sessions because she's got large pores, her skin looks thick, she's probably oily, and that looks dark and saturated. I would have predicted that would have been many, many sessions, and it was not. Not that she doesn't have to go in and do another one because the placement is wrong, right? This client does not want the pigment there. She came too far out of the hair. So she will go in and do another session and hopefully get that last bit to remove, but a remarkable result in 1 session. And then you look at this middle one. This is 4 sessions, and you can see where she started. And after 4 sessions, very, very good. But if you look the 3rd and the 4th session, not much of a difference.
Yeah.
Right. And this happens, you know, this happens to all of us, you know, great difference between what she came in with and the 3rd session. But once she did that 4th session, you don't see much of a difference. To me, I don't really think she needs to go again. The shape is pretty good at this point. Go in with a little taupe or green based you know, pigment and color correct this and just put a really pretty brow over that. I would use some green, you know, like brow mod or a green modifier and neutralize that leftover orange. But some people, you know, they'll go in again and try to get all that orange out, and I don't think it's necessary. And then look at this one by Carmen. This is 6 sessions and there's still stuff there and it's still thick. It's too thick for this client, so she's going to have to go in again. This could be another couple of sessions. Maybe it will get to a point where she cannot get any more out. So this is one of these stubborn cases, you know, very, very stubborn. But what a remarkable difference from where she started to what it looks like now. I mean, definite, you know, progress. I'm sure the client's very happy. I know Carmen's very happy. But I'm not sure she's going to color correct this. I think the client wanted it gone. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. So, you know, you can see it's all over the board. Some are 1 session, 3 session, 4 sessions, 6 sessions. This one right here is 4 sessions, and pretty darn good. I mean, because look at that one brow up there with that really pointy arch, it looks a little bit deep. But 4 sessions and, removed, most of that. That middle one is 2 sessions and probably needs to go in a 3rd or 4th to get that all gone. Very good difference between what she came in with on the bottom and then that top picture that's healed after 2 sessions. And then that last one right there, that is also 2 sessions. So we've got some really great results. Freckles. I don't know about you, Layla, but we're removing a lot of freckles.
Why do they do it?
Well, I don't know. They don't age well, in most cases. And especially if you're doing them, a lot of them are turning blue.
Yeah.
And turning blue and gray. This one didn't turn blue or gray, but whatever reason she wanted it gone. And that was, 1 session, but it was just a tiny little dot of pigment. But so she got that to remove quite well. The lips, that was 1 session. Obviously, she needs to go in again. I do find around the lip vermilion border area has always removed rather well for me, rather quickly, rather well. I'm not sure if it's the skin or, because it's lip pigment, the type of colorants used, but it
Yeah, we
tends to
get quite quick results with lip liners.
Yeah, and Ella, I think it's a combination of the lip tissue and the type of pigments. It's a different pigment, a different type of colorants, that we use on the lips. And that's an eyeliner. That's 2 sessions. Obviously, it's not gone. Client wants it gone. So that could be 2, 3, more sessions. Don't know. But
while you're on that one, someone's asked, can you clarify where we can do removal for eyeliners? Are we able to remove anything other than a flick?
Yes, on this one you can see she's removing the entire, the entire top, and we can use it on the bottom as well. I just did a top and bottom eyeliner last week. You just have to be careful. You have to be careful, just like we have to be careful with our anesthetic. I'll show you a few more eyeliners in just a bit. It removes, great for body tattoos. We do a lot of finger and toe tattoos. This is 2 sessions, not gone. This client probably wants it gone. That could be 2, 3, more sessions. This one, pretty darn good, man. After 3 sessions, I would probably go in and do a little bit more on the outer edges and see if I can get that outline to remove a little bit better. This is Elsa. She's a good colleague of mine in New York, and she's currently working on this scalp. And she sent this to me not too long ago, and this is healed after 2 sessions. So that's quite a difference after 2 sessions. She's got more sessions planned, but I think as long as clients, see progress, they're happy. I always tell clients, it takes, especially on an eyebrow, it can take, 30, 40, 50 minutes to put that in, but it can take, several, sessions over the course of several months to remove it. So definitely need to be patient. And these are some healed results on dark skin. This is an example on, like, we have to be careful with dark skin. But if you look at that middle picture, this is by a gal. She actually came to Vegas and took a hands-on lift course with me. And we talk all the time on social media. She's doing a lot of removal. And this is a black man, fits 5, and that's 1 session, and wanted that word removed. She did go in again. She does not have the healed after the 2nd session yet, but as soon as I get that, we'll add that. But 1 session, that's pretty good. We do have to be careful with leaving, skin discoloration, hypopigmentation on dark skin. I actually told Beth this was healed 4 weeks. Usually we'll bring them back in 8 weeks. and I told Beth, I think I would let this one sit. That is really, really good, one session. I'm afraid if she goes in anymore, some melanin now could be affected, and maybe you'll see the word strength, you know, in a lighter color, like it will affect some of the skin tone. If this was me, I might tell the client, look, I want this just to sit. Just sit the next 6 months. Makeup will cover this now, and let's see if it will lighten all on its own in the next 6 months, because it does. Sometimes if you just leave it, it will continue to lighten a little bit over the next several months. We've had 2 or 3 cases of that.
I had
happening.
that in lockdown, actually, with it was one of the girls that works with us, but she had a removal just before lockdown hit, sort of sending me updates, and now like we to be fair, I still haven't actually fitted her in to redo it. But a year later, and they've almost gone. They've just continued lightening on their own.
Yeah, it does happen. We had a gal, and she had a J on her finger, and did one session, came in, got you know, pictures, and it removed maybe like 30%. You know, you could tell it was 30% lighter. Well, she went to jail, so she was gone for like a year and a half. And when she got out of jail, the J was almost gone with no more sessions. And so the way the LI explained that is, it's just, it doesn't stop working. The reason we keep doing more sessions is to get more immediate result, right? Instead of having to wait a year. So we do know if we don't do another session, it will most likely continue to lighten all on its own with no more sessions, but it's going to take several months or a year. So the reason we do go back in again, knowing that, is for more immediate, you know, more salt, more immediate. So yeah, on this middle one, this is something I don't think I'd do a second session. I think I'd let it sit. If the client was willing to do that, maybe I would talk the client into it and see how much lighter it got all on its own. And then in this first lady, the placement is pretty good. It was just too solid. You know, it looks to be about 40% lighter, maybe 40% lighter. So if, you know, maybe one more session and then she can go in and color correct. And, you know, I'm not sure what this lady's goal is with her eyebrow. But then if you look at this bottom one down here, I'm going to try to move my head. If you look at this bottom one down here, that's 3 sessions already. And look, not much of a difference. You know, if I was doing this, I'd be disappointed. You know, Jennifer's disappointed. The client's probably disappointed. And this happens. You know, I don't promote, it's not magic. We don't always get the results we want when we want them. So we have to be mentally prepared for these type of cases that do happen, but they shouldn't be happening every single client, every single case, you know.
I think it's just disheartening sometimes, isn't it, when you don't get them quick results.
When we don't get those quick results, 3-4 sessions, right? Because, you know, I tend to get a lot of great results in 2, 3, 4 sessions. So then when you get some that take 7 or 8, or you've already done 3 and you don't see much of a difference, the client starts to lose hope and whatnot. But you know,
I think as an artist, like if you're quite new to removal and then you kind of come across this on your first one or your second one, then you get, I feel like people get disheartened with the product, but they're not realizing it's not the product.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not the product. I mean, we've got hundreds of lift technicians now all over the world removing with lift, following these techniques I've taught. And every single day we have a new healed result to post on our Instagram page. That's how many people are using lift. And you can look at the results from all over the world, different techniques, technicians at different skill level, and look at the results. Lift works. It works, and it's working well in most cases. But it's not going to work well or as we want it in all cases. And So it's just like pigment, right? You can get clients that don't tattoo well, and we don't, yeah, and you'll blame the pigment line, but it's not. It's the client's skin. She's just not taking pigment well. And sometimes we can give up on a pigment line too quickly when it's our technique. We're implanting too shallow, or we're not saturating enough. And, you know, I've seen people give up on lift too quickly. But I've also seen them come back to lift a few months later because they were getting the same kind of results with another solution. And yeah, so I would say don't give up. And if time, case after case after case, you're not getting results, change something up. It's probably something with your technique, something you're doing or not doing. And with eyeliners, yeah, we can remove, of course, bottoms. There's this, can you, I know my head's in the way, but you can see this bottom one right here. The client just wanted that inside corner removed. The technician went off the line a little bit, went a little too, it's not so good there in the corner. So she just went in and removed the corner. And she's out of Australia. She's on the lift board. She does great removals. So we can definitely go in and remove the bottoms, as you can see. That top one as well, that was one session, and looks to be about a 50% reduction, lightening. And already look at how good that bottom looks though, on that one session. Because that bottom, the top was better than the bottom, you know, but already with one session, it looks really, really well. And I knew this tail that you see with the red marker, that's a red marker marking the tail. My artist Amber did this, and this was probably the final adjustment on our lift, the final sample with all the adjustments, like 3 years later. And Amber went in and did this, and it removed, and I was like, I think that's our winner. Yeah, and this chunky tail. So no, we're seeing really, really good lightening, really good progress, really good results on the eyeliners. But I do think if you're going to do any removal on eyeliner, I do think that you should already be tattooing eyeliners. So if you've never tattooed an eyeliner, then I would not recommend doing a removal on an eyeliner. So I think that goes hand in hand. Would you agree?
Eyeliners are my favorite to remove. I find I get the quickest results with liners, and it's just satisfying.
Exactly, and probably because it's thin, so thin, the skin is thin. So there's not like a big distance to travel to reach the surface. So I do too. I find that we get pretty darn quick results, especially if it's carbon. Carbon tends to remove rather quickly. Those little tails and flicks tend to remove 1, 2, 3 sessions rather quickly. Migrated eyeliners, you know, on the course I do teach how to address and remove migrated eyeliners. It is a different technique because you don't want to cause further movement. So for many, many, many years, it was protocol. We cannot remove a migrated eyeliner. And then I just started playing with some techniques, and I just figured out how to do it without causing the migration to spread even further. But I do think migrated eyeliners are a little bit more stubborn. They take a little bit longer, I find, than a non-migrated eyeliner. But this is just one session. You can see it, that first picture. A very good difference, but of course we've got more sessions to do. I think that second picture, you know, that was pretty darn good. There's still some pink in the area where the skin's healing. And then that's Gabrielle Rock. I mean, Gabrielle Rock, she's your people, right?
Amazing results. I love stalking her.
She takes on really hard cases. She gets good results. She's doing some hard cases in, you know, 3, 4 sessions. Some of them are taking a little longer. Some of them are, you know, 2 sessions. And I'm like, oh my God. So this is a migrated eyeliner she's working on. And I do believe that's, 1 session, she told me, but, you know, obviously she's got, you know, another session to go. But yeah, we can do great things. We can help out a lot when it comes to, you know, botched eyeliners, migrated eyeliners. This is the stay patient. This is, I think the temptation to quit is strongest right before the success you've been waiting for is about to happen, right? And that quote not only goes to removal, it goes, it applies to our personal life as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as trying to achieve the dreams that we want, right? Believing in ourselves and making things happen for ourselves, and for our families. We're all entrepreneurs. If you own a business, if you got your own little studio, if you're renting a room, you are a business owner. And we're all trying to grow our business, and we're all riding the struggle bus, right? And so, on a motivation level, as humans, that quote applies. It applies. We get so down and frustrated and overwhelmed, and we get discouraged. And the temptation to quit is the strongest right before everything you've been working so hard for is about to happen. And it applies to removal. I think it's important to remember that removal, because what if the results you've been waiting for are going to be achieved on that very next session? And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I can't even tell you. And this is a perfect example. This is Michonne in my studio. And Michonne's like me. We're instant gratification girls. We're high energy. We want results. Like a lot of you, but we express our disappointment like, fuck, God damn it, we'll stomp around, and we can we're pretty like animated about it. And so this gal came in, and that's what she looked, that first picture, that's what she looked like before. And Michonne did a session on her. That second photo is her healed, right in the middle. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
If you look at it, her before photo, not much of a difference. Doesn't look like anything really lightened or any removed, maybe a little bit if you look closely, but that can be very disappointing, right? It can be very disappointing. So she does a second session on her. She comes back 8 weeks later. That third picture, that's her healed after a second session. And yeah, it's a little bit lighter, but it's like, we always want more. Michonne does a third session on her. And then this bottom picture that my head is blocking, that's her healed after 3 sessions. And we can certainly see there's a little bit left over, but look how much improvement, lightening, look how much pulled out on that third session. And that's like the moral to the story. It's like, it is stay patient. The journey to success with removal, it can be longer, and sometimes with even PMU with their brows. I mean, I've had a client, it takes 3 sessions, my God, because their skin is so challenging. But stay patient. Almost always you will get the results that you want. We just don't quite know when. And one thing else I always tell my clients this, I'll do this little demonstration. I'll go, here's the surface of your skin. And especially like in this case, we did this to this client, and we were lucky that she kept believing in us. But we'll say, okay, this is the top of your skin. This is where the scab is going to be. This is the outer surface of your skin. Maybe we don't see a difference, but the pigment moved from here to here. It moved under the skin. It did move upward, but maybe not upward enough to see lightening. And that happens sometimes on the first session. On that second session, in this particular case, maybe it moved from here to here and a little bit pulled out because we see a little bit of lightening. But when Michonne went in and did that third session, it moved to the top, most of it, and exfoliated out with the scab. So sometimes we do not see the visual results. It didn't make it to the surface to be exfoliated with the scab, but every session it's moving up towards the surface a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. And when we explain that to our clients, usually the clients, they'll understand. And I find most clients are patient, Layla, don't you? Because they've got something on their face that they don't want.
We do get
And
the odd client, you know, and again, I think it comes down to consultations, explaining to clients that it's not a magic wand that we have with removals. But I still get clients, you know, 1 or 2 sessions, they're disappointed and then they don't want to continue, or they just want them fixed. But it's trying to, I think it's just educating your client and explaining the process to them.
yes,
And
for
they
sure.
stay patient as well.
Yeah, and what we do in here is we have a portfolio of like eyebrows and then eyeliner, lips, and with pictures, what they'll look like. Some look red, some look not so red, but we'll have pictures like I'm showing you of, you know, some 1, 2, 3 sessions, 4, 5 sessions, 7, 8 sessions, all eyebrows. We can show them, look, it can be 1, 3 sessions and we can get what we want. It could be 4 or 5. And then in some cases it can be 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And we want them to be very, very aware of how long it can possibly take. You know, it's better to under promise and over deliver than to over deliver and under promise, you know.
I think just prepare them for worst case scenario, and then
Yeah,
they're always going
yes,
to be happy.
yeah, in a hopeful way, if possible, right? Yeah. Like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but yeah. So let's talk about emergency removal. This is what I was talking about. Like, there is like no need for you know, celebration and like and all that stuff anymore. You know, for years and years and years and years and years, it was protocol. It was taught to me. We couldn't remove a fresh eyebrow, a fresh procedure. You have to wait till that is like a minimum 6 weeks healed, and then you go back in, you tattoo it open, you put in your saline, all that stuff. And I followed that protocol right up until maybe 5. It's got to be about 5 and Lift launched 4 years ago. I would say about 6 years ago. I followed that protocol to a T because I believed it. But what I was doing in my training classes was, you know, I do hands-on eyeliner, hands-on brows, and hands-on lips. And we do, you know, I'll have 6 to 8 students. And when someone would make a little mistake, you know, on a stroke or bring something too high, you know, we'd had a code word with me and my students, like, don't say anything. And I would go bring a little bit of lift, you know, or a little bit of saline salt, little saline salt solution. Back in the day, I would mix up and put it there. And most times it wouldn't heal in. So I got this phone call, but I didn't connect the two for quite some time, because it was, you're talking a small little stroke or a small little, like she brought a wing out too far. And then one day I got this phone call from a client. She was crying. She was very upset. And someone in here in Vegas had done her eyebrows. It was horrible. She hated it. Is there anything I can do? And she kept saying, you know, she had her daughter's wedding was coming up. So she kept calling this is an emergency. This is an emergency situation. She kept calling it an emergency. And so that day I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put some lift on it. I said, come on down. We were about to close. She came down and I did my thing. I made her sign, wrote out a waiver, you know, and had her sign it. I said, I don't know, this could burn you. I've never done anything this big. I don't know. I don't think it's going to burn you. I think we're okay, but I don't know. It's, you know, it could be there in a week. It might not be there. I have no friggin' idea, but she wanted to go for it. So I did my thing. I had a little protocol that I did and did the lift. And, you know, in about 6 days, she called me and she was ecstatic and it was gone. It was virtually gone. And so she came down the studio, got my pictures and all that stuff. And I called Amber and Michonne, you know, I'm like, I don't know, man. I think we're onto something. And so we just started putting out there. If you have fresh eyebrows, come to Girls League Studio. And we started getting cases of freshly done eyebrows. We did some that were 72 hours old, some that were 6 hours old, 24 hours old, 48 hours old. I changed my steps a little bit, and we probably did about 14 and we ended up calling it emergency removal because of that one lady, you know, she kept calling it an emergency. And I think we did about 14. And then I got a colleague of mine in Canada to do some, and I got a colleague of mine in California to do a couple. And once we got about 14 healed results, that's when I added it to the online lift course and felt this needs to be taught. This is a valid technique and a valid procedure that needs to be taught. No one's going to get hurt as long as they follow my instructions. And look what it's become, Layla. It's a phenomenon now.
Amazing.
Even Lisa of Botched Ink is teaching it, right? Yeah, her and I talk, you know, we're friends, and she'll reach out. Yeah, I get along pretty good with her. You know, she took my lift course and I taught her everything, and you know, and then she went out and developed Botched and everything. And we've, you know, and I'm not weird like that. You know, she'll reach out to me every now and then. She didn't want to teach the emergency removal at first. I think she wanted to, like, well, that's a lift thing, but she cannot deny it. Whereas I told her, I said, you cannot deny it works. You know? And she's like, yes, Teryn, it works. But for me to see all these other brands, right, now adopt it and teach it. You know, some people ask me, doesn't that piss you off? I'm like, hell no. To me, that's going to be a part of my legacy. It's something I feel I gave, right? And so, no, I'm very, very proud. Every time I see somebody teach it or mention it on their platform, even if it's a different brand, it makes me really emotional. I'm very, very proud.
Yeah.
But
me and Claire's always got a bottle of lift in our back pocket on a beginner course.
Me and Amber just did an eyeliner course. Oh yeah, and we had to use it. Because you know, we have a code word, you know, so we don't tell the client you made a little mistake, because that freaks the client out. We just go put a little lift, let it sit, and it will not be there in a week. But so let's look at, and we do emergency removal. We don't use anything abrasive. We're not reopening it with needles, nothing like that. I did learn up to 48 hours is the best. If someone calls us and it was 72 hours ago, I will bring them in at 72 hours. You don't always get the best results, but you can get some to pull out in 72 hours. It just depends on how that epidermal crust has formed, right? If there's not much of a crust in 72 hours, or it's very light, you know, you can kind of, you know, get some lift to, you know, penetrate through that, then you might get some lifting. But definitely the quicker you get them in, the better the result you're going to get. And these are some emergency results.
First ones.
Yeah, that first one, look at that first one. Can you imagine if that healed in? Yes, we can still see it, but that's from the needle. That's from the trauma. You know, there's really no pigment in there. I mean, you know, when we're doing emergency removals, it's not because the brow was done pretty in most cases. You know, it's because it was botched. It was done so badly. So you can tell how deep, I mean, look how deep that one arch outline is. But fantastic result. And I love this middle picture. That just shows what the brow looked like after 24 hours, and then day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. You can see it fading and lifting. Right. And then I didn't really understand this removal, to be honest with you. Michonne did this in our studio a few months ago. I found the brow to be, I don't know, I don't find it that unattractive at all. So, but the lady was freaking out. She hated it. She came in, we removed it, and just about every bit of it removed. So that's good results. And this one is fantastic. I mean, no, it didn't all remove, and sometimes it doesn't all remove, as you can see in these first two pictures. But look how deep that is. My God, it's so deep and it's so saturated. That's microbleeding, you guys. But the majority, most of it pulled out. Same with that middle picture. It didn't all pull out, but I would say maybe 80% of it pulled out. And then on this last picture, just about all of it. I mean, that's pretty clean. just about all of it pulled out. And this is Becky Woodley. She's here in Vegas. And I like this picture because it shows some of the last little bit of scabs still hanging on. That's the day 8 of healing. That was within 24 hours. That middle one, that was by Shelly Kaplan. She's a trainer now. And the healed picture is 18 weeks after she did emergency removal.
Nice.
18 weeks. Yep. So, I mean, thank God that did heal in. Thank God. So I think emergency removal, I think it's one of the best things. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And like in my, even in my personal life, except for, you know, maybe except for marrying Kat, right? That's the best thing I ever did. But this emergency removal might be the best. I don't know. And then this is one I did maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, you know, and it healed, you know, fantastic, fantastic. So actually this last one, Layla, was very, very different. She got her brows done and they healed really pretty. And she went back 6 weeks later to the same technician and she did the touch-up. And she made them thicker and brought them in closer and horrible. So it was actually the touch-up that I did emergency removal on. Yeah, and that's what ended up removing. And the initial pigment that she had tattooed in initially, all of that remained, pretty much remained intact. So that was the first time that I had ever done one kind of like that. That was a first for me. So that was kind of interesting. What else do I got? That's it, you guys, that's it. So write down your code right there.
Circle 30.
Yeah. Is there I hope you guys liked it.
That was amazing, Teryn. So informative.
Yes, thank you. And I'll definitely hang out and answer some questions. Oh, let me put my glasses on. I feel so lucky to have had long your guys' time. I could have answered. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a wonderful compliment, and I appreciate that. That makes me feel
brilliant.
really
I mean,
yeah.
you've got to take Teryn's webinars. They're amazing.
Yeah.
How long is the lift webinar, Teryn, now?
Well, once they get on it, it's, oh my God, Olivia, how many videos do we have? We have hours and hours and hours
long.
of video, and you have it for a whole year. It's going to take you, if you go at a nice pace, it's probably going to take you a couple of weeks to read everything, watch all the videos, and then you're going to want to go back and watch the videos again, reread stuff. It's a very long, it's an online course with chapters and video. I just uploaded a body tattoo, a heart that I removed using a larger magnum needle, mag needle. And I finally happened to be here when an emergency removal walked in. And it was that one I just showed you.
And you filmed it. Brilliant.
Yeah, because you can't schedule an emergency removal.
No.
So I've never had one on the course. I just explain it. And then I was here and she actually called and she asked my other technician, yeah, I got an emergency removal that wants to come down. Do you want to do it? I'm like, no, I want it. I'll do it. So I got on the phone and I asked her, if I do it for free, will you let me film you? And she said, yeah. So Olivia, my gal over here, we set up the cameras real quick and filmed it. And it came out really, really good. So I'm always refreshing it. I'm always adding new video and new this and new that. I feel when you put on an online course, you've got to refresh it. You got to keep it relevant.
They get outdated quick.
They get outdated quick, right? They get outdated quick. And I don't want none of my stuff getting outdated. So we're always on there. I'm always on there doing things. And sometimes I'll get suggestions, you know, if there's anything that somebody feels is missing, is there anything you want me to go in and do a little video of me talking, explaining? And yeah, I'll jump on a camera and I'll add it. So I think you guys will like the course of a lot. It's accessible for a whole year. So you get it for a whole year. And then what we do after that is if you want to renew, it's $99 a year to stay, to keep your access to it.
Sherry said she'd definitely recommend the lift training. It's packed with so much information and Teryn's passion is contagious. She loved it.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Contagious. I like that.
Emily said, how long does the area look immediately after treatment? Does it look the same as if you've dry needled the area?
Very similar. Yeah. So if you do dry needling, you know, some people can get very red and some people can just get a little pink. So the same thing with removal. I have certainly had people get really, really red, and then some people just get a little pink. So I have a little portfolio where I'll show different examples of some people getting really red, and then some people getting just a little pink, and then lots of different examples in between. So they're not surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you also, with the, if you sign up with the course, we also upload you to the Facebook board. Layla's on.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
forum is brilliant. You just continue learning through the forum as well, and other artists' experience with it.
Yeah, it's very, very active. And I think it's really the only Facebook forum where I've never had any drama. I've never had to scold anybody. We've never had any drama or anybody mean or anybody. I run my Girls Inc., you know, the Products Education Board, pretty strict. We don't allow crap or mean. We don't allow any of it. I'll delete you. We just don't allow it. So we don't get much of it, but every now and then we'll get someone a little snatchy, right? But we've just never had that on the lift board. It's very, very active. So yeah, it's a great community. A lot of the trainers on there. Layla, you're on there. I'm on there. So yeah, it's really active. It's great.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you get back on with your day.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time today, Teryn. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you, Laura, for attending.
Yeah, how much they've loved it.
All right. Yes. Thank you,
guys,
Abby.
don't forget, Circle 30. You've got until Sunday if you want to get 30% off of the webinar.
Yeah, 30% off. And remember, if you took another course, email info@Girls Inc. your receipt, and we'll give you a discount there too as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And this has been recorded, so I will get the replay up within the next couple of days for anyone that couldn't make it or that didn't catch all of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Have a good evening.
And you have a nice day.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. See you later.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.